All right, y'all. So we are here today doing something very special. We've got my friend Tom Hayden, who is a amazing member of the community. He does so many awesome things. He hosts the Tom Hayden Tour every Tuesday. He's a part of the Chilling Nay podcast. He has his own Discord and is all over just a very infectious, amazing person to see at some of the in-person events or even in online events, right? So, before we jump into things, let me first actually say what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking to Tom Hayden about his Worlds run. So, I'm bringing Tom Hayden on, and we're also going to be doing this with one or two other friends of mine, but I'm bringing Tom on to just talk about how his Worlds run was, seeing as this was actually his first time, qualifying, that's the word, qualifying for Worlds. So we are very proud of our friend Tom for qualifying for Worlds, and we want to give him the chance to talk a little about it. So first off, Tom, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself as a person in general, and maybe also as a player, like how you got into playing Pokemon?
All right, I actually got a pretty unique story compared to a lot of folks, so I'll take it over from here. I was born a baby. No, I'm kidding. I won't start that far back. But what's it called? Dude, for real, thank you so much for having me on. Like, this is cool. I love doing content. Like, so you mentioned the Tom Hayden show. I'm bringing that back. I did 25 episodes, and then I had to take a break because I was traveling every weekend in June for Pokemon. Mm-hmm. I went to Milwaukee. I went to Fresno. I went to my friend's wedding at a local in Charleston. I went to Puerto Rico and NAIC in the month of June. Ooh. And I was looking at the schedule. Like, there were 5 weekends. Every weekend I was traveling for Pokemon. Or my friend's wedding, and then I turned Pokemon into the Saturday.
That's
which was
commitment.
hysterical. I asked the bride, so I reached out. She's a childhood friend. I actually crashed at her place for Knoxville. I said, hey, so what's the plans for Saturday? I know the wedding's Sunday. She's like, everyone's still traveling in. There's no solid plans yet. I said, mind if I sneak off for like 4 hours midday? Like, what? Why? I was like, I'm going to go to a Pokemon tournament. It was just so much fun this entire season. But, and dude, I started playing Pokemon during COVID. I couldn't shut down like everyone else. I knew about EVs and IVs from my friend in ORAS. I just played very casually. Mm-hmm. And he gave me his DS because I grew up. Here, let me show off this little collection I got now. It's my original yellow, red, blue. So one of these was my sister's. I don't know which one. I forget which one I had and I forget which one she had. Right. I think I had blue and she had red. And then yellow we got, like, all of us got as a family, me, my mom, and my sister. Because my mom had the guidebooks. She would help us play. We would walk to the local diner and drink milkshakes at the counter and play our Game Boys. And whenever I got stuck, I'd hand it to my mom and she'd look up in the guidebook. And then whenever my sister got stuck, she'd do the same. And I just had such a fond memories of playing Pokemon. This is the original silver. This is my sister's. I lost gold. I just got a new copy of gold.
Yeah.
Just got a new copy of gold. So I'm so happy I was able to find this one because I lost my original copy. And then I played Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and they were my favorite games ever.
They were great.
Ever. And then middle school Tom, I was playing more sports. I went through a phase where I was like, I'm too cool for Pokemon. Like, fuck this. I just stopped playing until I was living in California. And my roommates at the time were like, dude, new Pokemon game's coming out. I'm like, I haven't played Pokemon since I was like in middle school. They're like, dude, it's the remakes of Ruby Sapphire. And I was like, that's the last game I played. That was the next thing you know, my friend was like, took a little convincing, I remember too. He convinced me to get the game and he would let me borrow the DS. So like, you know what? Yeah, screw it. I got it. And that's when he taught me EVs and IVs. So okay. I played through very casually. I get my own DS when I move out. I buy Sun and Moon. Play it once, put it down, never made a competitive team. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, the same thing, never made a competitive team. Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was the next one, right? After Sun and Moon, or after USUM?
Yep. Or, I don't know. I forget.
I hated that game. I was like, this is trash. This is made for kids. Yeah. I do not want anything to do with Pokemon. Then Don't think about Pokemon for years until, right? Because it came out like 2 years or 3 years before COVID happened, right?
It came out relatively like a year or two after
Sweet.
the phone game, right?
Okay. Oh, Pokemon Go. I was working at a salad shop in California. I was a night manager of a salad shop. I had just finished cleaning the tables. 45 people come outside and rush and just take over the outside. Like, what is going on here? Like, I just cleaned the tables. Please don't leave a mess. It was like 7:45 p.m. We closed at 9, so I was like gonna take the tables in like 8:30. Usually we leave them out because it's California. It was beautiful weather. It was right on the Santa Monica Pier. Santa Monica in second. Shout out Simply Salad. Yeah, I was a night manager of the Santa Monica in like 2016, 17, 18, I think it was. But that's besides the point.
That sounds like a cool experience.
There was a Charizard that just spawned outside the salad shop, and like it was during the Pokemon Go craze. It was nuts.
Yeah, in the very beginning. Yeah. Dude,
Yeah,
people would like rush for things like.
Legitimately, like there were hordes of people on the Santa Monica Pier going to catch the Charizard.
Especially the Santa Monica Pier, because that was like I don't know if you remember, there was like Pokemon tracker websites where you could like look up like what's spawning where.
I didn't know that.
So we used to there used to be like a not super easy way to see what was around you. So there was like a website where you could look up all around the world what was spawning where right now. And it was ridiculous, but like the game started you on the Santa Monica Pier, or the website. So like literally right when you got on the website, it started you on the Santa Monica Pier, and it made it seem like that was like the hub. Like
I worked at Santa Monica in second, and then I worked at the AMC movie theater over there too. And that was my day job and my night job while I went to school too. I would go to school some mornings and go to the movie theater other mornings. And that was my life. I lived in California from 2014 to 2018 and loved it. And that's where I really got into Pokemon though. And then we were at Let's Go, then COVID happens. And I get Sword and Shield like months after it came out. I didn't get it right away. And whenever Series 4 was the first time I think I got to Master Ball Series 3. And so Series 4 I'm playing on Master Ball, and I play Cybertron. I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. It features my Butterfree, my G-Max Butterfree, as a thumbnail of his Road to Ranked video.
Right.
And I tweeted about it, and I tweeted at him. I was like, dude, this is so cool. Thank you so much. And one of the guys, some guy liked the tweet. And I was like, I'm getting random likes on my tweet. I would get like 1 like per tweet. And it would always be my cousin Joey. He liked every one of my tweets, and it was just like him. That was my only person that liked tweets. And I was like, who's this other random person? And next thing you know, the dude's last tweet was, I need more Pokemon friends. So I slide in his DMs. I say, let's battle, best of 3. Kick his ass with Colossal. Shout out United Away, Noah. I love you, Noah. And we become friends. And he tells me about this draft league he's in. And I'm like, what's a draft league? He explains it, and he has this cool ass Braviary team. And dude, it was just like, okay, yeah, let me know if they need people next season. So season 2 comes around, and I joined this small little draft league, the Champions Path Draft League. And there's guys that are like kick-ass Pokemon players in there that I had no idea were this kick-ass. There's like this really cool group of people that were in that community at that time when it was growing and becoming like what it was just like a small niche community that found each other in like Jin's Discord server. We're starting a little draft league, and it was like, I think they found each other. No, the guy was recruiting in like the bigger Twitch chats. Right. He was in like Jin's Twitch chat. He was in a couple other like
just like trying to grab people.
Yeah, and they were all Jin Fury super fans too, and I'm like, who the fuck is Jin Fury? And now he's like a great friend who I'm rooming with.
Yeah, Jin's a great guy.
Yeah, like I'm rooming with him in Pittsburgh. He's become one of my good friends in this community. Right. And I was just like, why are you guys all like, all right, let me watch it. And like I learned a little bit about Pokemon from him too. And the first tournament I ever joined was the Jin Cup online.
Nice.
Which is like so cool too. But I joined the draft league in season 2. And I went 6-5. And I thought my shit didn't stink. I lost to a bad matchup in the playoffs. I played pretty poorly because I sucked. And a couple of the guys were also in the High Roller League. I was like, oh, Jin's running that? Fuck yeah. So I joined that, and Next thing you know, I go 1-7, bro. I got my ass handed to me. My only win was
Shook your head.
Game 3, I what's it called? I choice scarf sleep powder with my Butterfree and shell smashed with my Blastoise. He Dynamaxed his Spectrier. I put his Spectrier to sleep, shell smashed, and then just started water spouting to victory. And it was just like sleep powder, like water spout, and I was just like, I just won game 3. I was like, oh, awesome. And then I'm like, I need to get better. Like, I don't know how to get better, but people were like, dude, you're playing against professional Pokemon players. I'm like, what the fuck is a professional Pokemon player? There's no, it's the thing. And I hear about live events, and that's like really where I was just like, I played season 3, I went 1-7 again. I was like, oh my god. But all my games went to 3-game sets except for 1. I was like, that's something I'm holding my head on. I'm at least gaming a little bit better now, you know? And where should I you know what, I got a funny story to tell too. I'll branch into that little funny story. So next thing you know, I start the next season, I'm 2-1. I beat Chemo, who's a kick-ass player. I beat Ban Fox, who's a kick-ass player. I lose to Tid Vicious, who eventually won that season. He was on a rampage. Shout out Tid. I used his Torkoal at NAIC this season. And I named it, I actually used this Torkoal at Worlds too. He's never getting that thing back. Fuck, I should tell him that. Yeah, I'm keeping that. That's my World's Torkoal now. I'll breed you another one. And so I'm at a Halloween party. I'm dressed as RJ Barrett. I'm a huge Knicks fan. I love the Knicks. And it was the laziest costume ever. I have a penguin costume in here, actually. Yeah. It's hanging up behind some other stuff because it's like, why do I need a Halloween costume right now? Break it, you know? So it's a penguin costume. And then I was like, I don't want to wear the penguin costume again. Let me just wear a Knicks jersey, some basketball shorts, bring a basketball, you know, and that's my costume. So, talking to my friends, my childhood friends, one of their girlfriends gets home. She's dressed as a nurse, and I was like, oh, nice costume. She's like, no, I was at work. And she hears me talking about Pokemon. She goes, my brother plays Pokemon. No way. She's like, yeah, he's pretty good. He goes to events and stuff. It's like, wait, it's not a big group of people. He plays a video game too? He goes, yeah, he plays a video game. I'm like, what's his name? He goes, Mike D'Angelo. I'm like, wait. And I had known Mike D'Angelo's name from, because in the High Roller Draft League, there's a player, Brady Smith. Shout out Brady.
Yeah.
Kick-ass player. It was after season 3, he said he wanted to get into coaching. And I said, but he didn't want to charge for it. He was like, I've never done it before. I don't feel good charging people if I've never done it before.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'll take the free sessions. Like, give me a free, like, let me know what, you know? He's like, dude, that works out for both of us. So, like, he helped me a lot. It was Series 10. It was my first time playing without Dynamax. I was lost. I was like 10-30 on the ladder, bro. I sucked in season 10. I was so bad. And then I find Brady, and Brady says, try this team. It's Mike D'Angelo's Pelipper team. And it just clicked with me. I just would go into the games and I would just win games. Easiest I've ever won games probably ever. And the team was incredible for the format at the time. It was like, it clicked with my play style. I felt like there were so many different factors. So then to meet this guy's sister through a childhood friend's girl, like what is going on? So she FaceTimed him and I'm like, oh my God. I start telling him about how much I loved his Series 10 Pelipper team. He's become such a good friend. Me, him, and Tommy DeRosa and Taryn, we roomed together. Like, we were just splitting hotels at Worlds. Like, that's who I roomed with at Worlds. Like, to meet these people the way I did, I've been just so blessed. Another player I need to shout out is Cortex. After I go 1-7 the first 2 seasons, he's reached out. He goes, I watched a lot of your battles, and I think you're good. You just don't really, like, you're team building sometimes. Like, you lose in that phase of it, and I think I could help you with that. He hopped on, like, a 3-hour phone call with me. And was just, and by like the 2.5 hours, like, why are you being so nice? What's the catch? Like, I'm like learning so, like, this is the most helpful Pokemon, like, coaching training I've ever been a part. Like, what is going on? Like, why are you being so nice? And he's like, I just wish someone helped me when I was first starting. Like, holy crap, like, dude, it's just incredible. My little Pokemon journey has been very unique, I feel like. And, yeah, I'm like, crazy to meet the people I have, but then because I know Mike D'Angelo now, and because I beat Pengy in season 2 of the High Roller League, there's a player, Patrick Donegan, shout out. He's been crucial to my like growth as a Pokemon player too. He was in Pengy's front office when I beat Pengy, so he knew my name because of that. I had met Mike like a little bit after, and they're like, "Oh, I heard of this guy, Tom Hayden. Yeah, you know what? We could add him as a support role to Team New York USPA." I'm a fly on the wall for like Joe UX9, Chuppa, like all these kick-ass players in Team Sohaib. They won the season. Like in my Team New York Discord, it says USPA Season 1 champion because I was a support role.
Right.
It was just like, I was so scared to talk in that chat though. I was like, it's all these kick-ass players like sharing their thoughts on stuff, and I was just being a fly on the wall trying to learn as much as I could too. And I was like, whenever someone needed battles, I would like be scared to type in because I'm like, they're just gonna kick my ass real quick. It's like T-Sol Tang too, who's a kick-ass battler and player too.
Yep.
It's like, so it was just so crazy to see and meet all these like incredible players and people. Then the first in real life tournament I went to was Joe UX9's X9 tournament in New York City, and I played Sohaib. I was like, wait, you're Sohaib from the Team New York chat. He's become a friend since then too. I was like, he was in my group of people we were hanging out with at Worlds the entire time too. He gave me the spectator pass for London, and it's just like, call these people friends. I'm so honored, and like they've showed me so much along my little Pokemon journey so far. But yeah, so Indy was my first ever regional. I went 5-4. I started 3-1, and I lost on a full para for my third game. I lost to Battle Room. I lost to Kevin Swastik. Then I lost to my friend Jerry Woods, who's won Athens 2013 and 15, and he's become a dear friend. I like him and his dad came to my birthday dinner, and like we've become so like such good friends. Big Jerry is one of my favorite people to see at events now, and he's not even a player. He's the player's dad, you know. And it's just like,
I know that feeling.
yeah, it's just like, wait, where's your dad? He's like, you just want to hang out with my dad? I'm like, kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I go to events and I see, you know, the seniors player Jay Snores.
Don't believe so. No.
Jay Snores is he was actually the second place senior at NAIC. So he lost to I don't remember who the other person was, unfortunately, but yeah, it was Justin got second place at NAIC, and he goes to all the events with his mom, and I always see her, and she's just like this like nice little old lady. I'm like, yo, what's up? Like,
you know, that's Nino's son is one of my favorite people too. Like, I've had Nino and his son on the Tom Hayden show. Yeah. Like, who would have thought me and Nino's son would become like as good friends? But I love John, and it's like I actually should reach out to John before Pittsburgh and pick his brain for some. I should really do that. Right. Like, you know, and it's just so cool to see the people you meet at these events, and deciding to go to Indy was a great decision. I almost didn't go too, because I got laid off from my job. I was selling Delta 8 to businesses, and it got banned or outlawed in Nassau and Suffolk County. Mm-hmm. But like, I guess we got to shut down, so they let go of the sales team. I was like, I already got everything booked. Screw it, I'm just gonna go. And yeah, deciding to go to that, and then Secaucus, and then NAIC that year, where we ended up meeting and playing. Mm-hmm. Such a good decision. And then because I'd done well at the Delta 8 place, and I had just got some lump money from something else. I had nothing but time is when I decided to go to London as a spectator. And so he gave me the spectator pass, and I booked everything 10 days before. I had the best solo vacation of my life, bro. I did a tour of Windsor Castle, Bath, Buckingham Palace, Stonehenge, like all this different stuff. I like saw everything I could do in London. I was like the biggest tourist eating fish and chips next to the Big Ben. And when I was there seeing the closing ceremony and they announced Japan, I told myself this season I was going to do everything in my power to try to get qualified to play in Japan. And it was my first season playing, you know, like trying to play. And it's just like so surreal still that I was able to clutch up at NAIC. I ended up finishing 10-4, 39th place at NAIC to get my invite, because I was at 232 points before then. 34 points before then.
So did you need to do like a certain amount of well in Top Cut to get your points?
Oh, I just needed to get top 128 NAIC. And apparently by my 6th win, I had done it. Chuppa came up to me and told me, you know that win probably secured your invite. I said, what? He goes, your resistance is crazy right now. Look at the Top Cut calculator. And I was 6-1 with like the highest res out of all the 6-1 teams. Yeah,
I think I remember that.
And yeah, people following along, it was like surreal. And we didn't even get into my Discord, but like along the journey and everything like that, the Discord's been crazy for me. So it was November this November, when it was before San Diego. Yeah, it was before San Diego. So I kept doing raids when the game first came out with all my friends, and we would do like different, like that, you know, just like different things during the game, and I would make group chats. My friends started getting so mad at me. They were like, Tom, stop adding me to group chats with whoever we're playing with tonight. Stop telling me to meet in like the Champions Pass Draft League Discord. Stop telling me to meet in Jin's Discord voice chat for like, okay, you know, like, shut the fuck up. Make your own Discord. And I made my own Discord. And without making that Discord, my Worlds run would have been so much different this year too. So November I make it, and all of November my friend's like, dude, just make a tournament for the people in the Discord. And I applied on Limitless. I was like, oh, maybe we'll get like 6 to 10 people. And I host the first tournament for the people in the Discord. And VGC Pace retweets it. We get 30 people immediately. Yep. And that was the first tournament. And the Discord and the tournaments started growing from there, man. And it's just like really cool to see how organic everything happened. And I'm over 1,100 followers on Twitter now. That's kind of grown rapidly, because like back then I probably had like 300 followers on Twitter. So to see me get like almost 800 followers on Twitter in that time, to see me get like, what's the Discord at? I think the Discord's at 600 people, because I tagged everyone about the podcast today. Like I'm always cognizant. 569 members. It's crazy to see. But
he's up there.
Yeah, man, it's just like everything just kind of happened so organically, and to see like the Pokemon journey, like I feel like I'm rambling now because I don't know where else to go, so sorry, stop me at any time. But like the Worlds run was really made because of the Tuesday tournaments, and making the Discord, I had these resources where I could then see the guys joining the Tuesday tournaments all the time say, oh, this is a kick-ass battle, let me reach out to them for some best of 3 practice or something like that. And I was doing that late in the season. And then when I qualified for Worlds, I made an own little like internal group chat with like 15 guys. I said, yo, I respect all of you. When I need best of 3s, I'm just gonna @ in here, and like whoever can help me, please let me know. And I tried to make my own little ladder to test offline as much as possible. Then I didn't really care about hiding stuff, because I was like, Worlds is gonna be the Wild West anyway, and if anyone's trying to counter team me, they're wasting their time. You know, it was just like, but it was just like really crazy to see how everything just kind of developed so naturally, and it just started organically. Like, yeah, no, like, let me just tweet some silly stuff about Pokemon. Let me just go to events. It got to the point where people were asking me for pictures at events, and I would always retweet them and take pictures. Like, that's so cool to me too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're the guy that hosts the Tuesday tournaments. You're Tom from the Twitter. You're Tom from this. You're Tom from. I was like, yo, that's really freaking cool to see. It's really incredible to see like how just playing Pokemon and having fun has developed into like something for the community too. And then the community gave back to me too, man. So I feel like this is a good time to mention. So I did the Ninos Pokebros added me to the stream team, and when he did the fundraiser, my community raised over $1,100 in the 3 hours I was streaming, and I was the last minute backup. I was just like, I subbed in last minute and took over for the streamathon, and next thing you know, I give it to the next person, $1,100 more than I took over. And people privately reached out to donate after that too, and it was just like crazy to see the amount of money I raised for Japan. And that's not possible without the Discord. When I was doing calcs for Worlds, I tagged in my Discord like, hey, can anyone help me like do a bunch of calcs? And people reached out to me and were like, yeah, I can help you. And they did like 35 pages worth of calcs, just copy paste. So I could look through them on my flight, 14-hour flight over to, you know, like I could look through them while I'm practicing, while I'm doing other stuff. Like, okay, this is the calcs I need to know. Let me highlight everything that kills me. And I reached out because you heard about the Jenning situation at Worlds. I got my team legally. Some of my friends not, you know, and they were a bit worried, and I said, let me see what I could do. I tagged Code Red in the Discord channel, and we got Urshifu, Goldango, Chen Pao, Iron Hands, like all these mons legally within 90 minutes, night before Worlds. 2 copies of them.
That's homies for sure, though.
It's like, so it's crazy to see how I've been asking for a lot. I'm doing a giveaway now, actually. So I added everyone that made the mons, did the calcs, that bred my team, everyone that helped me out, I'm doing a little private Discord. There's 17 of them. I'm a raffle 1 in 17 chance for them to win. And I'm doing another giveaway in the Discord channel where I added a giveaway bot. And every day I'm gonna tag it. So it's going on now. So for the next 5 days, it ends next Tuesday. I felt like it was good to pull it while I'm on stream on Tuesday, you know? And so yeah, that's gonna end next Tuesday. Giving away a copy to everyone who enters there. And then, dude, on September 12th and September 19th, so after Pittsburgh, I didn't want to make it the
right
tournament before Pittsburgh. I wanted to do it after Pittsburgh. I'm giving away copies of the DLC to the finalists.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Say, like, thank you for everyone that's donated, that everyone, you know, everyone that's done counts, everyone that's helped get teams, everyone that's just been an awesome member of my community that I accidentally built. Like, I'm trying to give back that way, and like, it's so cool to see how this year went Pokemon. We haven't even talked about battles. We've just talked about community stuff outside of my little journey, you know? We just talked about like the battles outside. I think the most in-depth I went into was Shell Smash Blastoise, which is hysterical too. Yeah. Dynamax Spectrier. But like, yeah, man, it's just crazy to see how like it's been a whirlwind of just Pokemon events, like, and it's been crazy. My little Pokemon journey so far, man. I feel like it's just starting too. Even though I'm not going to as many events this season. Like this 2024 season, I'm going to Pittsburgh, I'm going to LA, and then again, Sohei being the great friend he is, he's like, hey, if no one else wants to room with me, would you want to room with me at LAIC? And you know what? Yeah, keep me updated on that, and I might take you up on that. I might go to LAIC because he has travel awards to go, so they're paying for his hotel.
Nice.
He's like, it's nothing out of my pocket, you know? Like, you're too kind. So I would have to buy him dinner, and I would want to buy him something nice too.
Alright, y'all. So we had to take a little bit of a break there, but we are back. And our friend Tom Hayden brought up some very good points talking about just like his journey getting into Pokemon, right? And I think, you know, we all have our own journey, right? That's very relatable. And we're all kind of at our own points in getting, like, immersed into the Pokemon community, right? So I think there's just a lot of things that you probably heard Tom talking about that probably feels very relatable, no matter what, you know, level of getting into the Pokemon community that you're at. So, you know, I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about my journey as well, and, you know, kind of bounce that back off of him. And, you know, through talking about my journey, I think we can re-bring up some of the really good points that we heard Tom talk about. So, yeah, I have a very similar journey to Tom just because we are at pretty similar age ranges, right? So, I'm a Gen 1er, right? Like, my brother got a red version or blue version. I can't remember, but, yeah. Yeah. I did not get one of those games, which was I intended on making a video about it, so I won't, like, go into full detail about it right now, but basically, like, the short and sweet of it was Christmas. I was, like, 4 or 5 years old. We unwrap our Game Boys. My brother gets a red version. What do I get? Bug's Life, my guy. And I was so upset. Like, my brother was having so much fun playing red version, and I could not get past the first level in Bug's Life because there was this, like, double jump you had to do that made no sense to me. And so, like, yeah, I was super upset. My mom, being the homie and not wanting to deal with me being upset, literally drove me to Toys R Us that day, like Christmas Day, later in the day, and got me yellow version. So I still ended up getting yellow version that day because of how upset I was.
Well, yellow was better than red and blue, I think.
It was a super fun game, yeah, especially because you got to see Pikachu walk around behind you. Like, I'm pretty sure in my very first yellow version, like, saved file, I traded my Pikachu to my brother so he could evolve it.
Oh no.
And then he won't walk around with you anymore, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Right. I also have a very vague memory that one time I couldn't beat Brock because I didn't have good Pokemon. So I tried giving the game to my friend who was older. And one time, Thunderbolt literally connected with this Onix. Like, I have memories of things like this where I'm like, why would this have ever happened except for the fact that I actually remember it? You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure my Thunderbolt actually connected with Onix one time and then took it out. And we were just like, I win. I win.
Yes,
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so that was like the really early journey. And then very similar to Tom, I ended up getting back into VGC in late 2020 during COVID because, you know, I think a lot of us were all kind of just like sheltered and trying to figure out what we were doing, right? Trying to figure out how to do stuff with our time. Just want to say I do recognize that my camera seems to be moving a lot slower than Tom's. Tom's is moving fine. That's good. We want to be able to see our guest, but mine seems to be moving slow, so we're just going to deal with that. So
okay.
Good though. Yeah, you're good. My face is lagging compared to my voice. So I originally got into it late 2020 because I was watching a Hart video. I got really into watching Hart videos on YouTube. I got a Wolfie video suggested to me of him like using Dynamax Delibird. He was like, Dynamax Delibird, so good. Like, well, it's like one of his like random dumb thumbnails that he like used to have. That's like, I mean, at that point he was like the big YouTuber. Like there was like, you like didn't know of anyone else. It was like Wolfie, and like even at that point his channel wasn't even that big. It was, he might have had like maybe 200,000, 300,000 compared to what he has now. So like his channel actually wasn't like I've like seen the whole thing grow. I watched Hart's channel grow. Like Hart's channel used to be really small, you know, and he's
I was
like
introduced to him from Logan Paul.
Where really?
Yeah, because my friend was like, dude, you play Pokemon, you gotta watch this Logan Paul video like about him opening up the packs and stuff. I watched it and Hart was there.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this Hart guy? And that's how I was introduced to him.
Yeah, Hart's channel used to be way smaller, and I always think it's so cool to think about people like that, like where, I mean, they're very similar to, I mean, I'm a small-time content creator, maybe I'll be a big-time content creator one day, right? But, like, you can imagine people like Hart just doing what they're doing very, humbly, just like, oh, I'm just making these videos, whatever, and then it just takes off, and it's like, oh, I have 1 million subscribers, jeez. And like, Hart catches a little flack sometimes, and I think it's really just because like he's had a channel for a really long time, so people try to act like he's gotten played out, whatever, like, but we're not gonna get into all that, right? Like, I think that's the trials and tribulations of becoming big time, right? Like, people start to think you lose your realness, right? But I think Hart is very genuine, and it's hard getting big, probably, you know, and trying to maintain all that comes with that. So anyways, yeah, I got into it late 2020. I was using a stockpile Garbiter with Drain Punch, Cross Poison, Giga Drain, and Stockpile. I still didn't use Protects at that time. Like, I still didn't really know what I was doing, but I was...
My World's team didn't have one Protect.
Yeah. But that's okay if you really know what you're doing. Like, when you don't know what you're doing.
It's fun though.
Right.
It's fun. I just said Trick Room. I twist up the dimensions.
Trick Room is great, especially like when the format gets so hyper offensive, and you're just like, well, don't forget Trick Room.
Yeah. And I'm the people that like, I don't want to pull you at a regional. Just don't give me a DDR Mirage Trick Room.
Right.
They pulled me, and I'm just sitting there smiling like, oh, sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
But and so yeah, basically like I started making content because I was just like, I saw Wolfie's videos and I was like, oh, like, I'm making cool teams. What if I showed people stockpile Garbiter cheese and like all this? And I never made it. I actually did end up making a video with it. It wasn't as good as like the matches I played before I started recording. But my first team was type Null with Eviolite and like Morpeko and Quick Draw, Quick Claw, Slowbro, which is why I like it so much now. But my point being is that I didn't know anything about getting into the Pokemon community at that time. Like, I was making my little crappy videos without even having a OBS recorder. I was literally clicking the 30-second capture thing on the Switch over and over again while I was doing my matches, and then I would stitch them together in the whatever editing software I had, and then I would re-watch them and then talk about it and be like, look, so this happened and this happened, like, you know what I mean? And what that really meant was the production quality was extremely low in the very beginning of my channel. And while I don't do a lot of editing now at this point, I do recognize that the production quality is a lot better, right? And that's definitely something to recognize, you know. But yeah, I was making my crappy videos, having a blast. I knew nothing about getting into the community, which is kind of getting back into what we were talking about, right? Like, it's one of those things where, like, the community in this game and the experiences that this game brings become such, like, an integral part of it that, like, yes, it just starts with, like, oh, you're just playing the game, you're having fun, and then, like, it's really become so much more than that, right? Where, like, we're going to regionals, we're hanging out with people that we often consider to be some of our best friends, and we are going to places that you've never been to. I mean, sure, it's places that maybe I've never, like, considered, like, oh, I want to go to Charlotte, North Carolina, or, like, you know, not Knoxville.
An island down there. And
yeah.
I was like, I'm taking a plane next time. And looking at flights, it's comparable to London. Like, to get from JFK to Charlotte's like $450. To get from JFK to London's like $550.
That's wild.
Like, yeah, it looks like I'm gonna try to go to EUIC again instead of like Charlotte or Knoxville.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like that. I wonder if that comes down to, like, certain airports that you fly out of being expensive. Well, that is actually a thing, but
hey, I'm in JFK or LaGuardia, so yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But
you see me at a regional, my car's usually in the long-term parking lot at JFK
Airport. And so yeah, it's just, I think it's a really important point that Time kind of brought up, though, that, like, the experience of the game does become such an integral part of it. And I mean, it does suck to have to spend a lot of money to fly to do these things, of course, but if you have a job, you know, that's not really a consideration, right? Like, it's the experiences.
Yeah, if you have the finances to save up and invest in your hobbies, it's just such a, like, blessing.
Exactly.
And not everyone can get that. Not everyone's there in life.
Right.
So it's really cool to see, you know, the people who are able to travel, like, a lot of them I talk to appreciate it greatly. And now with the bigger prizes, the actual good players are going to be like, you know, like, I've never got top 32 yet. I got 35th at Fresno. I got 39th at NAIC. I want to break into that top 32 and then eventually the top 16. And then if you break into the top 16 at an IC, that's a lot of money. If you break into the top 16 at a regional, that's now $750. That basically covers most.
Yep.
Like,
a good portion of it.
Yeah, on the Chilling Nay podcast, shout out, we're 2 subscribers away from 100. What's it called? Stable I was talking about, he's like, I could go positive with that. You know, like, if I get that top 16, I'm going to go positive on the weekend. And that really helps me want to go to more events. You know? So, like, it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's becoming a lot more sustainable. And while we're still having the issue with the player cap right now, which kind of, like, messes with the, like, there's an incentive to want to play because the prizes are going up, but now it's harder to play. But, like, they're hopefully going to smooth that out, right?
But Peoria said they're going to have 499 players. That's the player cap, and 512 is what we would need for the top 256 CP, which is hysterical.
That's the thing that I think is interesting, that, like, they're making the prizes more accommodating, but they're making it harder to reach the brackets to get those prizes.
Well, see, top 128 is now more doable. Or we missed out on top 128 at one of the smaller tournaments.
Yeah.
I forget which ones exactly. Oh, Fresno missed out top 128, I believe.
Right.
And I forget where else. But yeah, no. So top 256 at a regional is crazy. Like, you could go 5-4 and get top 256, but not anymore because there is no top 256 prizing. You know?
Yeah, and it's kind of like at NAIC, right, where like we were so close to certain people being able to secure their Worlds invite if just a certain amount of players that were projected to show up that actually showed up, right? And unfortunately, like, Nishant was one of those people. Giga, if
He
like,
crushed it at Puerto Rico.
What'd you say?
Crushed it at Puerto Rico to put himself in
Yeah.
that position.
Yeah.
He got top 8 at Puerto Rico, so then he got 100 points from that. He needed a top 2. He needed top 128, I thought, not top 256.
Well, but at NAIC, if enough people had showed up, like, the CP gaining would have
80 points for top 256, because I think he was still needed top 256. I could be wrong though. Maybe he only needed top 128, not 256. But I don't think I went into detail about that for me, because I won a PC the day before NAIC, so I went from beating top 256 to top 128, and I slept like a baby. And then when we didn't hit the kicker, I was like, all right, it's the same as if I didn't win that PC now, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. You went from I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you were there like instantly. You were like, oh, this is like attainable now. Yeah.
And no, winning that PC the day before NAIC had me sleeping like a baby the night before.
Yeah.
Like, wow, all right, I'm going in there to game.
Right.
The Series A team.
But yeah, let's see. So just to like kind of, I guess, wrap up what I was saying.
Oh yeah, I totally interrupted.
Oh, it's all good. I'm trying to think of like the shortest and sweetest way to say what I was trying to say so that we can get back to like the other stuff, right?
Ask away. This is your show.
Yeah, it's all good. We're chilling. But no, so I guess my point was I didn't know anything about getting involved in the community when I first started, and I was more or less blessed by somebody helping me kind of see what I was doing as well, right? In the sense that like, about a year into me just making videos, sitting there by myself, not really knowing what I was doing, the homie Random Gaming VGC reached out to me on YouTube, and just commented on one of my videos and was like, yo, let's do a best of 3, like, let's collaborate, basically. So he wanted to do a collab for our channels and do a best of 3, and ended up beating him. That's kind of besides the point. It doesn't really matter who won, right? But
oh, shout that out. I did that with United Away. I shouted out that I beat United Away when we first played too.
Yeah. It's actually unfortunate because Random Gaming doesn't make content anymore. Like, he moved on to big boy things. That's the way I think of it. You know, I respect it. He has a family. You know, he's professional. But he never ended up beating me in best of 3s before he stopped making content, which is unfortunate because I wanted him to have the chance to redeem himself. So we played like 3 or 4 best of 3s and he never ended up beating me. But the point is that he invited me to join Discord because I didn't like know anything about Discord. I thought Discord was like a weird place that you like, what do you do on Discord, you know? But so he invited me to get on Discord. I joined the London Corviknights Discord, and that was where I really started to meet people. And
I like the London Corviknights. I met a couple of guys that are involved in there. I always forget their names.
Iron Mac, Dread Mambo, big shouts to them. Those are some of the bigger characters from the London Corviknights Discord. But like, I was more interactive in their Discord than I was in some of the later Discords. Like when I first got into the Corviknights, I was very like, I don't want to say like blissfully ignorant, but I was just kind of like I was so excited to jump into it, and I was like, I'd play every weekend tour, and I would like talk to them about like, oh, like I can't believe I did this, blah blah, like, you know, and they were very accommodating to that, which I really appreciate. But I also really know the feeling of what you were talking about, in part of when you were talking, where like sometimes when you do get into a Discord where you feel like there's like really big players, you know, it's you can feel very slow to warm and like nervous about starting to like actually interact at first. And I think that that's important to point out, mostly because like people need to know that that's okay to be at a point where you're in a Discord with big players or people that you look up to, and maybe you don't know what to say at first. That's okay. Like, it can take time to get
just
to
be
the
fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Then I got added to Team New York as a player the next season because I was a support role. And, you know, I was that fly on the wall, and I helped enough. I was just like, in the general chat, I would say, like, let's go, guys, or it's good job. But, like, I was definitely terrified to, like, offer Joe UX or T-Saltang or these regional champions, you know, like, that's because I was like, am I really going to help them? Am I at the point where Sets versus me are going to help them get better? You know, and I wasn't confident enough in myself. But yeah, no, it's just like, don't be afraid to interact.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also understand that, you know, it takes time to get there, you know. It's okay to be slowly moving from the point of just starting to like actually starting to interact with people. You know, you don't expect it to just happen in a week. I mean, it can, right? But like, it's okay if you slowly see yourself starting to interact more with people after like 2 or 3 months or whatever. And, you know, for me, that was kind of like joining USPA PA. So like in the first season of USPA, I was with NorCal, and I was still kind of like in that like just excited to be here stage, and like I wasn't really that good. Like, yeah, and you should be excited to be here, right? Like, but yeah, I wasn't that good in Sword and Shield, but I was good enough, and like I knew the people, right? Like, so I was with Ragna and like all the other homies out there. I'm trying to think of who else was in the USPA NorCal. For some reason, I always think Neil was in there, but I know he's actually from Canada.
I think he's living in NorCal and going to college there.
That's what I was thinking. So he's actually in San Francisco now, right? I was interactive with the NorCal Discord, but when I joined the USPA PA Discord, I feel like I was very nervous to like actually interact with people in there, because I mean, there was just players that I had heard of a little bit more in some way, shape, or form, like Pengy, Charisma, 76.
Homies.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are, like Pennsylvania cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go to the Pennsylvania Discord, the Philly locals, and those cats would be there.
Yeah, and for me, like, because I'm from Philly, I was like extremely nervous and extremely honored to get into the USPA PA for season 2. And I took that fly on the wall stance. I was like, look, I'm here. I don't exactly feel like the hugest contribution, but like, I'm gonna do what I can. I think I won like 1, lost 2. I definitely could have done better. Like, and I can recognize how there's ways where I could have put myself forth to practice more, but I was also absorbing as much as I could for where I was at, right? And that's fine. Like, you need to, like, you got to take all that stuff in stride, you know? And I think it's just important to, like, it's important to be aware of that, because some people, they expect progress to happen right away. Like, they see people like Justin Tang, and they're like, oh, how can he just go to his first regional and win? And it's like, well, he's Justin Tang. That's why. Like, you don't see every...
He's a draft league player. Do you know his draft background?
Yeah, and that too. He has a lot of like online, you know, previous history before that. Yeah. And yeah, so it's just something to keep in mind, and yeah, all the online experience is definitely important. You know, getting into draft leagues, getting into the USPA stuff, and just trying to soak it in, I think is really important. But I don't want to keep going on too long about it, because I feel like I kind of hit on the head most of the things that I wanted to bring up. Mostly just that, like, I wanted to bring up what Tom was talking about with, like, how the experiences in the game are such an integral aspect to, and like the opportunities that can be created for you by integrating yourself into the community, but also knowing that it's okay for it to take time to get there. And if you just be yourself and you know, find your group, you know, you become a part of the community. And you know, it's kind of just like any other thing, right? The other day I was thinking about how my brother, when we were like in middle school, had, you know, played Halo with his friends online, and they had their little group of 4, and I was like, I wonder what that was like for him. Like, you know, he actually had friends that they just played Halo together. Like,
dude, those Halo days were awesome. Halo 3 was the game.
Dude,
Halo
for
3
real.
was the game.
But yeah, so that was enough for my, you know, we're gonna end up having a long one here anyways, but for the people who wanna listen, that's, you know, can be like something to listen to in your car or whatever for a long drive. But yeah, so where we were getting to basically is starting to talking about Tom's journey leading up to the Worlds. So I wanted to just hear a little bit about your actual season before Worlds, right? Because like we could talk about Worlds, but there's a lot of work that goes into it, right? It's not just, oh, I'm going to Worlds, right? Like you had to go to a bunch of events, you had to put in the work to get there, and so, you know, let's hear a little bit about that.
So my season actually starts in London at the London Open, which is part of the reason why like the Yokohama being open was probably like brutal for a lot of players traveling over there. But I didn't get points at the London Open. I started 3-1. I beat Binji Wang in Swiss, who's like a great Chinese player, like incredible Chinese player. And he went 8-1 in Swiss, and I was his only loss. We played a colossal mirror match. And that got my confidence super high. I was like, oh my god, wait. Pengy actually, I was standing with him talking to him when we got the pairings, and he just sees my pairing and starts laughing at me. I was like, oh, that's a reaction.
Right.
He was like, good luck, Tom. And I had like an auto win into him. It was a colossal mirror match. I had Kyogre and Yveltal. He had Shadow Rex and Asian. I was a Scarf Kyogre. I had Grimmsnarl with screens. I had I forget who else. I don't think I had Grimmsnarl with screens on that team. I had Urshifu with Aqua Jet. So I was just like, and in the rain, I was doing Urshifu stuff with Scarf Ogre. It was just like a bad matchup for him. He had Galissapod.
The Galissapod too.
I maxed my Urshifu game 2. He maxed his Galissapod game 2. It was just like, what kind of
Max
game?
Bakulit.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on?
But does the emergency exit go off when his health goes under half when he's Dynamax?
It was his last Pokemon.
Oh.
He added Dynamax. I KO'd everything else really quick.
Okay.
I think he expected me to Dynamax, but I didn't with Colossal. So I was able to, what's it called? I was able to like take advantage. I forget exactly how the game went. It was so long ago now. It was over a year ago. But it was just like one of those first times where I was like, oh, I can hang with the big boys, you know? Like,
yeah.
That was really where my season started at 4-5 record. So then I see the announcement for Worlds in Japan, and I tell myself I'm going to do everything I can to get invited. I'm so excited about playing the upcoming season. I book a flight to San Diego in the London hotel after the closing ceremony. After the closing ceremony in London, I go back to the hotel and I book a flight to San Diego. And I was like, I'm going there no matter what. And San Diego was the first North American regional. I went 6-4. Oh man, I loved my team, but looking back, I wish I had found my NAIC team because it was a Series 1 team.
Right.
And I'm like convinced I could have beaten anyone if I had the team I'm using now at San Diego in Series 1 before like the format really developed. I did have 3 of the pieces. I had Torkoal, I had Armirage, and I had Indeedee. And those were all on my Worlds team. Like I've been using those mons since San Diego, since this game came out, and I've been loving them. And the other 3 were Hatterene, Hydreigon. No, it wasn't Hatterene. What was it? It was, that's what I mean. I wanted Hatterene. If I had Hatterene, it'd be better. But, it was Indeedee, Armirage, Torkoal, Hydreigon, Magnezone, and Lilligant.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds epic.
I went 6-4 with it. And Orlando comes around. I had a lot of outside shit going on in my life during Orlando. I broke my tooth in half. And I just spent a lot of my savings getting it fixed.
Yeah.
But then I was like, it really drained me, you know, so I dipped into my savings account a little bit more than I would have liked. Like, fuck, man. You know, I gotta start saving up money again. And, what's it called? I stuck my finger in a deli slicer. and I got 6 stitches from here to here.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And I walked around the regional just like middle finger up the entire time with a big bandage wrapped around my middle finger. And grandma died the weekend of Orlando Regional too. It was just like, I was a mess that weekend, Loki. I was just so happy to be hanging out with friends. We got a big Airbnb, and it was really cool to be like surrounded by people, because I was just like, what the fuck is going on right now? Like, my tooth is killing me. I can't eat anything. I'm flipping everyone off. I can't I can't fucking do, like, just live normal right now. And my grandma was going through the health. I was a mess. So I wasn't even focused on Pokemon. I found a meme team that in one of my Tuesday tournaments. It was weak armor, weakness policy, armorage, and Indeedee. And a flip turn iron bundle. And I just used a version of that. And it was a lot of fun. I started 3-0, then quickly went to 3-3, and ended 5-5. I couldn't care less about my placings at that regional. I barely prepped because I was just like in pain and miserable and spending time with family. And I was just like, all right, this regional, I know I shouldn't wash a regional, but I paid for the flights, I paid for the like Airbnb. I'm going. It's just gonna be like a wash for me.
Mm-hmm.
And Knoxville, I came back with the opposite mentality. I said, I'm gonna do everything in my power to get points. Like, I'm going to do well at this regional. I'm going to set myself up for success. And I didn't like my trick room team, because then Regulation B, I had tried that Armorage and DD. I had tried the Armorage and DD Torkoal Core. I wasn't finding success with it early. I felt like the power increased too much from Regulation A to Regulation B.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what my best route was. So I said, hey, Carney, can I borrow your team and learn your team? And my friend Benji Carney, who had got points at San Diego, who had got points at Orlando, he lent me his team for Knoxville. And I lost my winning in. I went X2 until round 9. And I lost my winning in to go 6-3 and get points. My first ever championship points.
At Knoxville?
So, Knoxville.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Knoxville was the only tournament so far that I've ever gotten CP at. I went.
Yeah, no, Mousy, Grim Snarlet was a cool ass team, man. Yeah, you went 6-3 as well. Did you have a winning in?
I ended up winning my last round because my opponent got frozen by a freeze dry.
Wow.
They had a really scary, like, you know how like when you faced a really good Sylveon team, you were just like, oh my god, this thing's just gonna blow everything up with Hyper Voice, like. So I was facing a really strong Sylveon team, and I was like, all right, this is probably gonna do me in, and like, I landed a freeze dry freeze on him in game 3, and I was like, oh my god, that's keeping me in this right now, like, and I was like, I just told him straight up, I was like, look, man, I've been in your position, I've been that guy who's at what's it called, 5-3 and like been like, oh my god, I might get points, and then like some BS happens and I'm like, so I just shook his hand and I was like, bro, I've been there, like, once I saw that freeze, I played to my outs, like, I had to.
You have to.
Like,
You have to. It's a game we're competing in.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, dude, that happened to me at one of the regionals we'll talk about too.
Yeah, so you can keep going. Yeah.
So then I went to every event but Vancouver and Fort Wayne. I was a wallet warrior this year. I went everywhere I could. And I was able to keep the flights cheap too, because I would like constantly be updating them months before the regional circuit was announced. So like, registration was going this year like if it happened like last year, this year I would have been screwed. I booked flights and hotels like months in advance.
Yeah.
I saw the circuit.
Yeah.
And by this time last year, by September, I had my flights and hotels booked for San Diego. I had my flights booked for Orlando. I had my flights, and I was staying with a friend for Knoxville. And like, I had everything planned out 3 months before the regionals, because I said to myself, I'm going no matter what. I didn't even think I wouldn't be able to register. Like, I was just still so green at the time. I was so new. I was just like, all right, I just got to register. And, it's just crazy, because then EUIC comes out. Well, actually, I went to Charlotte, and I went 5-4. I lost my win-in into points match. Like, my win-in points match. So, I've had 6'4", 5'5", 6'3", 5'4", and the 6'3" was a lost winning in for Knoxville.
So you went like under 128.
Yeah, I went under 128 at Charlotte. At this point, I only got championship points at one of my 4 events.
Okay.
And UIC's coming up. I don't get in wave 1 registration. I'd set an alarm for like 4 in the morning to register. And it's wave 2. I don't get in. And wave 3 happens. I'm at work. I tell my boss I'm clocking out 5 minutes early. I'm leaving because I think registration came out at 2 or 3, and I was off at 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in the back. I clocked off. Like, I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. The owner comes in and asks me to start doing something. And I'm like, Jim, I actually clocked off. I'm doing something on my phone right now. I can help you after. He's like, oh, if you clocked off, don't worry about it. I was like, yeah, I'll let you know. And I try to register for the 3rd wave, and I get in. And I'm like, let's go! And I explained the fact that I didn't get in the 1st wave, 2nd wave. I have a flight booked already. And they were all very happy for me. And I got in. But the UIC was my worst tournament. No, actually, my worst tournament up to this point. I went 4-5. And it's the same record I had at the London Open. So I'm like, this venue is not my venue. I want to go back this season and redeem myself and go better than 4-5 at that venue. But I left there thinking my season was over. I left there being like, I'm definitely not good enough to get invited to the Worlds yet. I've been to 5 events. I've gotten points at 1. We're no locals at this point. I didn't do well in the GC 1 or 2. So it's just like, I'm losing all these opportunities. I'm like, I think the GC 2 I got 10 points. But I didn't know that at the time. So in my head, I only have 40 points still.
Okay.
And I'm like, alright, I'm not as good as I thought. Like, this just isn't my season. And Regulation C happens. Right? That started EUIC. And the back half of my year kind of caught fire, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events left. I got points at 1, 2, 3, and the GC3, and locals and stuff. So like, I kind of just like, first half of the season sucked for me. Like, I was not performing well. I was not doing well at all, really, in my mind. I was going X4 or X5 at every regional. I was like, I went X3 once. I went X4 twice. I went X5 twice. It's like, I'm just not that good. I had already booked everything for Portland, and Hartford was driving distance. I told myself I'm not going to go to Milwaukee. I'm not going to go to Fresno. I'm just going to go to Portland. I'm going to go to Hartford and AIC, and that's my season. And GC3 comes out, and I finished 19th.
Really?
Got 50 points.
Nice.
I used a crazy ass. It was the same weekend as Portland. So Portland's going on, and I go full Darsh in the Darshettes. Shout out my friend Darsh Patel. He's been one of my main prep partners the entire season, and I absolutely love prepping with Darsh. Him, Karan, our friend KS Knight Rider. We all use the same team that Darsh made. And I was like, Darsh, I'm following you. If you tell me what team we're running, I'm running that team. I trust your judgment completely. I love what you've been doing with the team building. Like, he's been performing well. He's day 2'd at Knoxville, day 2'd Charlotte, day 2'd Orlando, I believe, too.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Darsh does very well.
But, he's a good friend of mine, so I feel comfortable enough to, have him teach me the team and me understand it. So it's Screamtail, Iron Hands, Amoonguss, Baxcalibur, Fluttermane, Gyarados. And it's just Sword Stance Hands with the Power Flinch Gyarados support, the Amoonguss Rage Powder. You have Screamtail Howl, so you can boost the hands in the Baxcalibur, and Fluttermane, who was the best mon in the format, just doing Fluttermane stuff. And yeah, I went 6-3 with it. I got points. I didn't get a win in it. I lost my 3rd game early and then ripped off 4 straight to end the day. And I was able to get top 128. And then during day 2, I was playing the GC3 in my hotspot. And that was crazy because I just had the hotspot pulled up and we were gaming on the docks on the side that they didn't clean up yet. It still had the charging on it. And I had a group of all my friends around me, and we were all Or watching me play. I was using. This was a really cool team. It was Umpluff, Torkoal, Tusk. The way Joe UX9 had just like done well with those three, so everyone thought it was like that core.
Mm-hmm.
But I was using Scarf, Tusk, and Telepathy Oranguru. I had specs on Torkoal with Fissure, Eruption, Heatwave, Solar Beam,
Mm-hmm.
and Hatterene, Mousehold as the last two. So what I would really do is I would lead Pop Bomb, Mousehold, and Oranguru. I would either follow me in Trick Room and they would KO the mouse, or I would Pop Bomb, Instruct Pop Bomb, or I would Pop Bomb, Trick Room, Instruct, and then I get the Pop Bomb off in the Trick Room too, and then they're faster than, it was just a crazy ass, like, and I was gaming on people, like, and good players too. Edu was my last match. So I'm playing the last year's world champion with 10 of my friends watching me, hyping me up. Like, I think it's Gotchapill's gonna fake out. I think I have to encore. And I encored him into fake out. And everyone went nuts. It was, Tom, are you kidding me? Right? And it was John too. It was all that. It was like crazy to see GC run in Portland. I walked out of that. I was on the flight home with 90 more points than I got on the flight there with.
Because of the, you said like side events and shit, or?
Oh, it was top 128 in the tournament.
Oh, right, yeah.
And the GC3 was 50 points.
Right.
Oh, and then the GC3 ended, and Monday they came out with where the standings were. And if you look, it says Tom 19. Like, holy crap, man. So I got 50 points from the GC3. That's when I also saw I had 10 points from the other GC.
Mm-hmm.
So I had 140 points at this time going into Hartford. And I'm like, my season's back on. Immediately booked a flight to Milwaukee and Fresno. Right when I got back from Portland, I said, let me look into this. Let me see if I can make it reasonable. And I ended up going to Milwaukee and Fresno too. Then they announced a Puerto Rican special event. I went there too. And the next event after the GC3 in Portland was Hartford. And Hartford was not my day. I brought a version of the GC3 team with the Fissure Torkoal.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I got to touch on this local. So I'm lost. I'm like, I don't know if I should run Darsh's team. I don't know if I should run my GC3 team updated for best of threes, which I didn't love in testing at that point. I didn't know if I wanted to go back to Hart Trickle. I was split between those three lanes. That's where my head was at this point before Hartford. Because I was like, at this point, I've gotten points with Carney's team. I've gotten points with Darsh's team. I think I could pilot one of Darsh's teams 2 points again. I thought I might be able to do better with the GC3 team if I had updated it and invested more time in it, but I didn't know if I had enough time to invest making that the full version of what it is.
Right.
At the same time, both of those things were going on. I was still testing Indeedee, Armirage, Torkoal, Trick Room stuff. With Lilligant, with Hatterene, with, I think it was Jin Fury's EUIC team that I brought. And I still really liked that. And I was testing all 3 of them. I felt like I wasn't testing any of them solidly enough. I was just kind of dipping my toes in all of them.
Yeah, right.
And I was lost, and I committed to the team I built. I said, instead of using the Darsh team, instead of using the Jin team, I'm going to use my team. I'm going to use the Oranguru, Mousehold, Torkoal team. And then I see there's a local announced in Maryland. This was pretty dumb of me, but New Jersey, New York, Philly scene is fucking hard. There's a lot of good players in my area. So I said, let me go down to Maryland. It might be a free local.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Monday, 6 p.m. Who the hell is going to show up? Justin Kane shows up. Wolf Glick shows up. Yotam shows up. My friend Darsh shows up. It was a murderer's row.
All the big boys.
Shows up. I was like, what the hell is going on, bro? And it was a Monday. I thought it was going to be easy. And I told my friend D'Angelo, and he's like, dude, Wolf might show up if it's a Maryland one. He lives around there. He's like, what's Wolf doing going to a local? He just went to Orlando. Why would he go, you know? And sure enough, he was there. And I played him in the top 4 and lost, but I got championship points at that local with the team. I had King Gambit on that team. And eventually took King Gambit off for... Oh, I didn't get points at Hartford, so I don't have that team written down. I think I took King Gambit off for... Oh, actually, for Armirage. I took King Gambit off for Armirage, and that's where I first discovered the red card in Indeedee. the night before Hartford tournament, I had practiced with my team. I didn't like the way King Gambit felt. I didn't like the way Tusk felt. I thought Tusk was better in close sheets and when I had telepathy Oranguru. But in open sheet best of 3, I needed mental herb inner focus Oranguru where I'd get fake out every time.
Yeah.
So it was just the difference in close sheet, open sheet formats that was messing me up with the items, move choices, and EVs and everything like that. So the 6th spot just kept feeling clunky and clunky and clunky and clunky. A friend tells me about Red Card and DD and Armirage. I added it to my team at like 3 a.m. and I went through all my lines with one of my friends and I said, all right, so what do I do into this team? What do I do into this team? What do I do into this team? I ended up making it room service Armirage too. No, I didn't make it room service Armirage. But yeah, it was room service Armirage. And it was the same room service I used at San Diego because I wanted to underspeed the base 50 mobs, the hands. Trick Room. I wanted to be able to underspeed hands, Zoom rolls, even though they weren't very common as Zoom rolls at the time.
Yeah. And
I loved that team. I didn't do it justice. I also got very unlucky. So I pull a Lycanroc T-Tar round 1,
which is rough for DD Armor.
Corviknight. It's with Corviknight too, so I can't. All my damage is psychic and normal. All my damage from Hatterene, from Armirage, I had to position Torquewell as a dragon, Corviknight, the rough skin Garchomp, the T-Tar, Lycanroc. It was a crazy. I was like, what kind of matchup is this? I missed 6 fissures too. Oh, I hit fissure 7 times. I hit one of them and missed 6 of them. And I was like, oh my god, because I just kept fissure and struck fissure and being like, let me get out of jail free here.
Hopefully something good happens.
Round 1, that's how I started, and I was kind of like, alright, whatever. And round 2 happens, I forget who I played, goes exactly how I wanted to. Like, my round was the exact matchup I had planned and prepped for, my team did exactly what I knew it was going to do.
Yeah.
Then I bring it back to 2-1. And I forget who I lost to. I'm 2-2 after lunch. And my round 5, I pop bomb and struck pop bomb. I one hit one of the pop bombs.
Ooh.
I don't hit Rodriguez. Just hits once. I'm wide lens technician. It's game 3.
Yep. I've been there.
I'm like, and at that point I had hit a couple more. I had clicked fissure a couple more times and missed. So I was 1 for 8 on fissures at the time in round 5. I just 1 hit a pop bomb there, and then I 4 hit a pop bomb later in that game 3 that really was a nail in the coffin. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
the 1%.
I'm like so hopeful for the season too, because at this point I just got like 100 more points, and I thought I was at 140 points after being at like 40 for most of the season. So I just go back to the hotel room. I do something I don't want to mention on here. I was like, let me just, the devil's lettuce is calling. And I had a good time up there for a little bit. I get back for round 6, win 2-0. Round 7, win 2-0. Round 8, win 2-0.
There you go.
Now I'm 5-3.
State-dependent memory.
I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. I pull this dude named Chef Rich McGullen.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out Chef Rich. I love Chef Rich. I wish I could hate Chef Rich. He's just too nice. I wish I could hate
Very
him.
good, sir.
He's beat me. So I beat him the first time we played at a New Jersey local. And he beat me in my Tuesday tournament. He beat me at the next New Jersey local we played. He beat me at Hartford for points. And he stopped me from getting points in Hartford because he was just gaming on me and got me good.
You were like...
I was like, fuck you, Rich. He's like, and he's like, Tom, I love playing you. You're such a good friend. And I was like, this is making it worse. I love Chef Rich. He's one of the people that helped me out with calcs when I needed help with calcs. Like, when I asked the Discord for help, he came through for me. Like, and we'll get to Chef Rich later. Spoiler alert, I play Chef Rich 2 more times this season. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So Hartford didn't go my way. I was like, honestly, I think I played well. I just didn't get the good matchups. I got unlucky rolls in a couple of games. Let me keep my head up. I go to Milwaukee, I'm going to use whatever team Darsh uses. I'm going back to it. So instead of going down the path of my own team, I'm going down the path of the Darsh team. And I said, let me take Darsh's team, learn it, prep with him, and do everything I can to get as good as possible. Milwaukee comes around, he changes up, he's like, we're bringing Wochen. I said, we're bringing Wochen? All right, we're bringing Wochen. So I 2-4 dropped and saw Spider-Man. I did not play well with Wochen. Wochen carried me in my win versus Rain team. It was awesome in a couple of more. What's it called? Oh wait, did they tweet out signups? Oh, they didn't tweet out the signups. My friend just tagged me in a Discord. Yeah, so they're gonna tweet out Overload events. I have notifications on for their Twitter account. They're gonna tweet out whenever the signups are ready for the PC. I want to go to the PC Friday in Pittsburgh, Saturday in Pittsburgh, Sunday in Pittsburgh. There's an MSN.
Okay.
So I want to go to Ultra Rain. But back to Milwaukee. Yeah, so I 2-4 dropped and saw Spider-Man. And my round 6 opponent was like, "Are you gonna play it out?" Like, hoping I would help their resistance.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to see Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. And my friend Bruno, just 2 tables down, goes, "Hey, can I come?" And me and Bruno dropped from Milwaukee and saw Spider-Man and hung out. And there we talked, and I told him, I was like, "Man, I tried building my own teams, like the Rangaroo stuff. I tried doing the Darsh team. I think I'm going to go back to a version of Jin's team, but make it my own from EUIC. And I think I'm going to go all in on Trick Room for the rest of the season. Because I saw a lot of the matchups at Milwaukee, I would have rather have that EUIC Trick Room team. Like, I felt like it was really well positioned into the meta. And then I see Jin crushing it too. And I think he went 7-2 in day 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, you know, like, let me make this team my version of the team. And I brought it to Fresno. I started bringing it to locals. Wait, is there a local before Fresno? Oh, there's not. Yeah. So after Maryland local, then it was Hartford, it was Milwaukee. I didn't get points at either. Fresno was the next event I got points at. And it was kind of crazy, man. I had an incredible run at Fresno. So I lost my win in, but there were 4 out of my 6 wins where my opponent didn't get a KO in game 2. Like, I just won so easily in game. Like, I knew how they were going to try to stop Trick Room. I was like, all right, DDR Mirage are hat hands, let's go. And I just gamed on people, and I was just able to, like, win games as easily as I've ever won games. I had Lilligan. I didn't bring it once though, so people were very scared of the Lilligan Torkoal.
Oh yeah, Lilligan is a threat.
Because of the Lilligan Torkoal threat with the hard Trick Room, it was just like, this was the easiest games I've ever played in my life. My losses were all like really hard, like I couldn't play around my bad matchups.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my first experience, like actually like, okay, I'm winning with this version of Trick Room now. Like, I lost my winning into a super specially bulky GU. My plan was to Eruption and Armor Cannon them in the sun, and as long as they don't have too much bulk, I could usually deal with them that way. This one had a lot of bulk and nasty plotted, and then just started snarling and whatnot. It was just like over for me. You know, it was just like, yeah, there's not much I can do now. Yeah, man, so Fresno, I finally got some more confidence in myself, too. I was like, at this point, that's 50 points, because I got 35th place. There were 7, 6, and 3 teams that made it. I was the 10th, 6, and 3 team. I was 35th out of 300 and something people there.
Okay.
I was like, dude, wait, I'm gaming. All right, let's go. And the next event I went to was my friend Angela. Shout out Angela. I stayed with her in Knoxville, and she's getting married the weekend after Fresno. And what's it called? There's a PC near her wedding. And the wedding was on a Sunday. She said everyone's still traveling in Saturday. So I said, hey, do you mind if I sneak off during the day? And I ended up renting a car and picking up Anime Redneck. And we went to a local in South Carolina. My friend Jerry was there. My friend Eric Silverbroom was there. And it was just really cool. My friend Pete Ange was there. It's just like really cool to see, you know, that. And I ended up getting top 4 at that local, I believe. In
Nice.
the NCPC. I got 12 more points there with the Zoom roll on my team. And so So the next weekend, like that week, I think, was when they announced the Puerto Rican special event too. I'm like, wait, I'm at 200 points exactly at this point. I just got the top 4. Like, I'm at 200 exactly. Or I think I was at 204. If I go to Puerto Rico and get top 8, I can get my invite before NAIC.
Mm-hmm.
Flights to Puerto Rico were like $230. I booked it immediately. I got the cheapest Airbnb ever. I ended up getting attacked by a bird at my Airbnb too.
I think I remember that.
Airbnb, they just cleared the roof and they had a bird's nest on the roof. And the bird's nest, mama bird was pissed that like they killed her eggs or they got rid of her eggs and whatnot. And, like the baby's gone. And anyone who opened the door, she would dive bomb. Start dive bombing anyone, and I was posting it to Twitter and people were following along, which was so much fun too. And it was just hysterical because then people were staying at like luxury resorts for like dirt cheap. I was like, wait, I paid pretty cheap, but that's still very cheap. I'm okay. If there's ever a Puerto Rican special event, I'm signing up again and I'm doing it right. I'm staying in a nice resort. And I started 0-2. I'm using my team and I can't beat the New Balance team. Chiyu, Fluttermane, Iron Hands, Amoongus.
Yeah.
Beat me as my winning in Fresno. I pulled it once. It beat me in Puerto Rico. 3 of my losses were to that team. 3 of my 3 losses were to that team. I beat everyone that wasn't using that team in Puerto Rico. And I was pissed at myself for starting 0-2 though, because at that point I can't get top 8.
It makes your resistance really rough.
Yeah, I was just like pissed at myself. You know, it's a small tournament. You needed to be X1 to guarantee it into the last round.
Oh.
You know, and then only top 8 get points because there were only like 40 or 30 people there.
Right.
Only like 35 people there. It was like Zach Thornburg. It was Casty. It was Mike D'Angelo. It was Sohaib. It was Nishant was there.
Yep.
Like there was some really, and it was like incredible to see the level of competition there. But I learned a lot actually because I saw the meta develop in a way where I didn't realize it was developing that way. Where people were running Misty Train, Fluttermane to stop DD Armirage. Zach Thornburg was using that Mouse Aid Goldango team that he won with, and then became way more popular too. And it worked out well for me that Mouse Aid Goldango team became so popular because that was one of my best matchups. And I ended up beating Nails with it at NAIC twice. And I was just like, wait, I'm beating a player of Nails' caliber with like, I just had an insane matchup into that team. And I had a great matchup into Chen Pao Dragonite going into NAIC. And Chen Pao Dragonite had a great matchup into everything else. So I was still using the red card in DD. So if you ice spinnered my Indeedee, I survived the hit, you swap out, the terrain stays up. And that interaction won me so many games because before people moved to Icicle Crash. And it was just like insane to see. If someone didn't know that reaction, I automatically won game 1 if they did that to me. In game 2, it was how do you adjust, and I know how you, like, I know what tools you have to stop trickery.
Right.
So I was just winning I had 7 wins in NAIC, 6 of them were 2-0. And the one I didn't win 2-0 was because I kind of over-adjusted because I thought Nails would do something and he didn't do it. And I was like, okay, let me go back to what I was doing in game 1, and it worked in game 3 again. And I ended up securing my invite with my 6th win at NAIC apparently. Chuppa came up to me and was like, yeah, dude, your resistance is crazy. And so that was like really cool to see. But the PC before NAIC, we mentioned this earlier, but I was at 204 points, I think it was, or 214 points. Yeah, 214 points. That was the number before NAIC. So I win the PC, I get 18 more points because I had 2 top 4 finishes already. It was best finish limit of 2, so I got 18 more points. Brings me to 232. I'm officially where 256 people, like top 256 placement.
And they needed 300, right? Was for this year, and now this year it's 500, right?
Which is more obtainable because they have best finish limit of 6 locals and 6 MSSs. So top 4 if you're halfway.
Yeah, the CP dispersion is different now.
Yes, but I think it's still 12 for top 4. Then at MSSs it's like 32.
Yeah.
So if you go to like 10 locals, let's say you get top 4 at 6 of them. You don't do well at a couple, or let's say you do better at a couple. You do the same at MSSs. Top 4 is like, you go to 10 throughout the next 8 months. You get like top 4 at a couple, you get better at some, worse at some. You could get half your invite just from that.
Right.
But when you put it like that, that's obtainable. That's obtainable. Like top 4s at locals are obtainable. If you're a good player and
you're
even an average player, I'd say, to be honest. If you're even an average player, that's an obtainable standing to get, because you could just be playing really well one day. And as you're getting better, you could see your growth over the season, going from an average to a good player, or a good player to an above average player, to above average to a great player.
Right.
You can see your growth, and if you keep playing throughout the season, you will eventually get better and better standings just from getting better at the game and playing more.
Yeah.
If you play good competition at locals, which if you're not getting top 4 right away, it's because someone else is, and because they're better than you. So the more you play those people, better you will get inevitably.
Absolutely.
I went to a small local in Staten Island on a 6 p.m. on a Wednesday night. It was Luca Paz and Chupa Cross who were in the day 2 race. And me, my friend Joey, my friend Jacob, and and Tristan Medina. 6 of us day 2 at NAIC out of a 10-person local in Staten Island. It's like, and then Chef VGC, I think, so 7 people, I think, day 2 at NAIC. So, when you're playing that level of competition, like a rising tides raise all ships type of thing, to see how many people from that specific local day 2 to NAIC was crazy to me. It was like, the people I'm playing are making me better, because I'm playing this level of competition at my locals too. And it's just like, it's obtainable to get the 500, I think, through, you got to get half of them through locals, you got to go to at least 1 IC, and you got to go to probably 2 regionals. And that's doable over a 6-month period for most people in the country, I think, if you're planning on playing and trying to get your invite.
Right.
More than that is probably doable, so it's like, 500 sounds intimidating, but it's realistic when you look at the numbers. And then the kickers are lowered, so now we're never not going to hit top 128. We're always going to get top 128
points.
Probably won't get 256 until the ICs, to be honest. The way it's shaken out with the player caps, maybe the second half of the season will change, but I don't think we're going to get top 256 points for a while.
Yeah, we'll see.
And, yeah, man, so then after NAIC, I was like, made it to Worlds. Are you kidding me right now? After my first half of the season, where I was I didn't think I was good enough to make it to Worlds in the first half of the season. Again, 5 events, getting points at 1. I saw my growth over the season, and I saw myself just keep playing and improving and doing what I found comfortable with. It was really cool to see that growth over the season and how my teams developed. I sent you a picture of all the teams I got championship points with, and it's but the ones I didn't get championship points with mean a lot too, and it's just really cool to see my season develop, and really caught fire in Regulation C. That's why I was upset that Worlds was going to Reg D, because I was lost, bro.
Yeah.
Looking back, San Diego, I liked my core. I didn't like the pieces around it. Didn't love the team for the first regional of the format. Reg B, I'm using the Mouse Ape team. Finally get comfortable with it at the end of this Regulation B. So in the beginning of Reg B, I was lost and didn't know what to do. And again, EUIC, the first tournament of Regulation C, I was lost. I even used a similar version of the team I ended up doing well at NAIC with, but it was such a different metagame, and I was just so lost in the format. I was like, how do I avoid this for Reg D? How do I avoid myself looking back and saying, oh, that team sucked? Every first tournament of the format, I said that about my team. Every single one. Reg A, Reg B, Reg C. But at this point, I was like, how do I adjust? I go to my friend Katori at this point, Brandon Tudenhagen. I don't know if I shouted him out. He's been integral to my growth. Because at Hartford, I believe I met him. Or no, Portland I met him, and then Hartford I see him again. And he's like, oh, dude, thank you for running the Tuesday tours. I play in them all the time. They help me get better. And I was like, oh, nice. How'd you do in Portland? I know you're talking there. He goes, I got 13th. I said, what? He goes, yeah, I got 13th place. I said, what the fuck? That's awesome, man. Congrats. And he was in day 2 of Hartford. I was like, who are you? Like, can I run some sets with you? And we instantly became friends. And I would hop on like a 3-hour phone call with him at night, and he would help me prep. I would help him prep. We would look at the limitless tours. We would look at what was developing in the metagame and just game into each other. And he was like integral to me getting better. So when Worlds comes around, me and him were both in Puerto Rico. He got 3rd place in Puerto Rico too. So he secured his invite there. And I couldn't be prouder of him. I couldn't have been prouder of him. It was on stream. He was gaming on people on stream. So if you could watch that Puerto Rico stream back, like it was on Caribbean Gamers, I think is the guy's Twitch name. I think the video should be somewhere. But he was gaming on people on the stream to the point where they had him on 2 rounds in a row because they were like, wait, we got to have this guy stay on. He eventually lost to Sohaib, and then Sohaib lost to Zach Thornburg in the finals.
Right.
And but I was just so proud of him. Him and his girlfriend Joey are like such good friends of mine now. I didn't mention them at Fresno either. I played him at Fresno. He helped me optimize my team. He helped me make better EV spreads for me to beat him and be his 3rd loss at Fresno and knock him out of the tournament. It felt so bad. It was like we were around 8 opponents, around 7 opponents. So it was like late in the tournament too.
Someone's got to lose.
Yeah, and someone's got to lose. And it was just like, fuck, man. I thought he was never going to prep with anyone again because I was the first person he was prepping with too. And he had gotten 16th place at Worlds as a senior or junior, or no, as a senior. So like he's a kick-ass player that just came back this season, and like becoming friends with him has been so cool too. Like he's just such a cool dude. And I went to him and I said, can I use the team you're building for Worlds? Like, can you help me find something? And he sent me this really cool Heat Ran team. It was Magma Storm, Iron Defense, Body Press, Terra Fairy.
I got wrecked by that on Showdown.
I loved the team. I was doing well on Showdown with it. I take it to Limitless Tours. I went 0-3 or 0-4 in every Limitless Tour I brought in.
That's the unfortunate thing about Showdown versus ladder or like Tory tournaments sometimes. Is like you think something's going to do well, and then it's just like...
And now I spent probably 7 to 10 days testing this. I have 20 days until Worlds, and I'm like, I feel like I know what I don't want to use. Let me just go back to the NAIC team on ladder. And I started going back to it on ladder and doing well. I started hitting up people for private best of 3s and doing well with it again. And I'm talking to friends like, I think I'm just going to bring my NAIC team with updated items, EVs, movesets, etc. I didn't like Red Card and DD as much anymore because Icicle Crash was on Chen Pao's more. I didn't like it because a lot of my lines with it had changed. So I think Rocky Helmet was more valuable for breaking sashes on Urshifu's. The Follow Me, Terragrass, Urshifu line with like, you know, like Terragrass with Rocky Helmet, Follow Me. Urshifu is dead in 2 turns. Or if I do the red card, then I'm taking more damage. They don't take any damage, so they have sashes. Like, there were multiple reasons I felt Rocky Helmet over red card on a D. And there were just some building decisions that I was like, all right, let me do Aura Sphere over Energy Ball because the Heat ran. And now I like Energy Ball over Aura Sphere on Armirage.
Energy Ball, yeah.
I got my army. But, yeah, man, it's just been like, I probably decided to bring my NAIC team with updates 20 days out. I was testing Glastrier over Raingru too. I loved Assault Vest, Glastrier, Terra Electric, Terra Blast. It's Stomping Tantrum, Mystical Crash, the Terra Blast, and Close Combat, I believe it is.
Right.
And, dude, it was so much fun on my Trick Room team. But I felt the Raingru gave me better lines into Chiyu stuff because I was using Hariyama still. So I would Terra Rock, Rock Slide, Instruct, Rock Slide. Just get a bunch of flinches with that Rock Slide. I would just get, I could Expanding Force, Instruct, Expanding. I could Eruption, Instruct, Eruption, Instruct, Dazzle. Hatterene and Torkoal, who are nuclear weapons, become even more deadly with the Raingru next to them. Where the opportunity cost of having another attacker there that couldn't do spread damage was big.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think I'm bringing my NAIC team. Ultimately, 2 and 5 was not. I guess the NAIC team wasn't the call. Honestly, I don't know if I could have brought a different team and done better though. Like looking at my losses, I lost to better players. Like my round 1, I played Confidant with my co-host on Chilling Net. and like he's an amazing friend in person. And I think, what's it called? Like, it was a tough matchup. I was in my head, and if you want to hear me talk about that set, go to the Chilling Napod. I'm working really hard on that. So if you're watching this far, please go subscribe to that YouTube, because it's like really our project. I'm gonna be putting a lot of effort in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, so he gamed on me. In round 2, I gamed on someone, and I got my confidence back up, 1-1. And in round 3, I lost to a Yawn solo dozo with just a cool ass team around it. I forget. I'm not looking at my notes right now. And I felt like the Japanese player I played, it just was another level on top of where it was different echelons. I was like, I don't know if I could have had a team that had an auto winning to me and won that match. Like,
you got gamed on.
I got gamed on hard. That was before lunch. So then I'm talking to Scott Scotch Tape VGC. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's awesome. And Caitlin Brown, and I'm seeing me and Mike D'Angelo walking back from lunch with them. And I'm like, I'm gonna knock everyone out of the tournament. I'm gonna go in there and just X2. My day is just gonna be ruining people's day. That's what I'm gonna be doing the rest of the day. I'm like trying to hype myself up. I'm all excited. I pulled Lewis Tan, who got second in 2019 in the seniors division worlds. And again, it was just like he gamed on me hard.
Yeah.
He got me good, and I was like, man, I don't know. I felt like I had a decent matchup too, and I was like, all right, this is a team I've seen before. It's not like too outlandish. It's not too out there. It was just crazy to see the level of talent at Worlds. And, that was my third loss. And my fourth loss was to a Chinese player, Uncle G, who's very funny. He's like a really funny player. It was a weird matchup. I remember being like, all right, I gotta play around this. I gotta look at I wish I brought my notes down here. I don't know where they are. But it was just like really cool to see the level of players there, because I felt like I lost more to being outplayed and my team not being well for the format.
Right.
And then round 5, I actually played a French player who had a Rangaroo Torkoal, and they had an Amorous though. Weren't using side spam. They weren't using side spam. So my Armorage was the fastest thing on the court, and I could just rip expanding forces into them.
I've had that happen.
And I imprisoned with my Indeedee, so they couldn't set Trick Room on me, and I just ripped expanding forces into them the whole game. And we were laughing though, because I was like, we really thought we made a good meta call, huh? We were both the 1-4 tables.
Right.
And then at that point, I'm 2-4. I'm just like, let me end 3-4. Let me end on a win. I play a Japanese player who just, again, another level, just gamed on me hard. And I was like, all right, 2-5. That's the way I had my first Worlds run. And I didn't realize it's actually already like almost 1 o'clock. I kind of got it going like around 1 o'clock. So we got like 15 minutes-ish before I got to like hard out.
For sure.
Man, this was incredible to talk about too. Like, this is kind of fun being on here too and talking about this, because I haven't thought about this or talked about it. I'm usually the one doing the interviews, like on the Tom Hayden show, or I'm being like a guest panel on the podcast. So like, just coming on and talking about me has been a lot of fun, and like going through my season again has been like really cool.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you doing this.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be cool. It'll be a cool thing for you to be able to look over just as much as for other people to be able to watch, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess to help segue into the next part of things, what I think you just brought up a lot of really good points, and for a second I lost my train of thought, so I might have to.
Yeah, go find it. I've been there before.
Right. Dang, what was I gonna say? No, I relate a lot to what you were saying, because I've been able to actively see myself grow over this season as well. And a lot of my shortcoming has come from being very, wanting to build my own teams. So I'll always, I never want to, use other people's teams, and that's a lot of what you were talking about, trying, this person's team, that person's team, and that really does help you get really good. Yeah. And
you see different mentalities. You see what decisions went into the team building process.
Right.
Why did Darsh EV this like this? Why did Carney make this mon
right.
this speed specifically?
Right.
And what situations are you using these mons in? Can you
right.
me up on how to use your team?
Right.
And that's been more useful than just picking up a random person's team and
yeah.
piloting it. Having a friend who built it and teaches you how they pilot it. So you could use it with your playstyle and their knowledge now. Try to take advantage of both.
Exactly.
Like, synergistic values of it, you know?
Yeah, like those, you get to see those like really small micro adjustments that high level players make that makes the big difference. And like something that I've always been able to observe about myself is like I'm an extremely good team builder, but because at times I haven't leaned on other players, there'll be like one small mistake that I made on my team that makes a big difference. Like in what was it? Orlando, for example, I was using a team that like ended up like multiple players got like top 16 with the same, almost the exact same team I was using, which was Ndidi, Armor Rogue, Iron Hands, Brute Bonnet, Dondozo, Tatsugiri. Like it was a disgusting team for the time. Like it was extremely good. No one wanted to face it. But the problem was that I built it completely by myself without leaning on anybody else's knowledge. And I made a last-minute decision to switch from a fast Dondozo to a slow Dondozo and forgot why I liked fast Dondozo so much. So I ended up going like 3-6 or like 4-6 at Orlando.
It changes everything when like that changed, because then you have to position the board completely different.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, I set this up so I outspeed this. Oh wait, I don't outspeed this anymore.
Yep.
Then you set yourself up for a loss.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating when you do that to yourself.
Yep. and so like I would also see, like you mentioned Nick Navarre, Nails, he used a team, he used this Mousehold Great Tusk Talonflame team to get really high at one of his regionals, and I had literally built like that exact team with like a couple different spreads like the day before, and I made a post about it on my channel, and I was like, oh, look at this team, that looks familiar, doesn't it? Like, and it really speaks to something where like when you build that level of high level team building knowledge, like knowing how to put a good team together, it's important, but you also do need to learn those micro adjustment type of things that you gain understanding of by playing with high level players. And that's something that I think is really important that you touched on, and because like to me, I think of VGC a lot of times like skateboarding, where you get better by being around better people than you. So by like kind of like you're saying, you're like, oh, like I played all these good players and they're like kicking my ass, but like that's making me better. And
no, 100%. 100%
yeah.
What happened to me this season.
Yeah, and it's great. It's great to hear about, because like that it's people need to know that like it really does make a difference. I think a lot of people hear the Jenning debates going on and they're like, oh, like blah blah blah, like just like, you know, what is it's I don't know what I was getting at, but the point is like it
official tournaments, you know, like if you're gonna I have Jen for official tournaments in the past. I don't know if I'm gonna get crucified for admitting that, but like yeah, no, it's like
I have a bad egg. That's my Jenning. I don't Jen, but I have a bad egg.
No, I made my world's team legally. I made most of my teams legally, except for the ones where I was like, well, I can't make this in time. I'm trying out this team. If we change something the night before Worlds, or not the night before Worlds, the night before Milwaukee, and it's just like, all right, you know what? Let me try it. Let me just make this adjustment now, and you can make it in 10 seconds instead of needing to like
exactly.
And it's just like
it's such a resource difference.
Is that a competitive advantage though? It doesn't give you any competitive advantage in the game.
Right.
So
it's just the cumbersomeness of making the team, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a weird debate, and I might get crucified for that take. But it's just like.
Yeah, no, we don't got to get into the whole Jen debate, right?
Yeah,
but
I didn't watch the Cassie versus Verlis debate.
Oh no, fuck that! I'm not watching that shit.
And I know this is a bad take. Apparently, people told me not to say this, but Cassie's been so kind to me. He's a friend. Like, he's become such like I played him at the Puerto Rico. VGC, I played him at the PC I won, I played him at NAIC, and then I ran into him in Osaka Castle. And like even being friendly with one of the people in the debate, I was like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? I hope both their audiences grew, because that's what they wanted out of it, right?
Right,
Cassie
right.
wanted to get Verlis's audience, Verlis wanted to get Cassie's audience. Both wanted to exchange a little bit of their audiences. You know, that's what it was at the end of the day.
Right,
A way to grow for each of them on social media.
Yeah,
Like, that's
but
what it was.
my point though was, like, I guess I don't really have anything to say mostly about the Jenning debate, but what it did bring up was that, like, this game takes a team. And, like, you know, the Jenning debate just kind of did bring that to light in one way or another, that people started recognizing again that, like, right, the players that are doing really well at this, they're not just, I mean, sure, there's maybe some that are, like, just that good that they can just sit there and do it by themselves because they've been doing it for years and years, whatever, develop that knowledge. But, like, the people who are doing very well, it takes a team to do what we're doing, you know? You have friends that you're constantly hitting up, talking about calcs and talking about, what do I do in this scenario? And, you know, the reason why it relates to Jenning is because technically you can, like, get Pokemon from your friends easier, too. So, like, if you do need legal Pokemon, having friends is a good way to do that, right? Yeah.
Oh, in London, again, I got 2 teams of legal Pokemon in 90 minutes from my Discord channel.
Right.
I'm forever grateful to those people. One of them asked for one of the Pokemon back, and I can't get it back. My friend asked to keep it at Worlds, and I said, oh yeah, I only promised one person I'd bring it back. Then I realized I read my message, and the last message I sent was, I'll try to get this back for you. I was like, oh, dude, I fucked up. I actually gotta, like, I can give you a Goldingo from my game, and I apologize. But, yeah, no, this person wants to keep the World's Goldingo if they can. You know? And that's on me for messing up. So, like, I feel bad about that, but, like, having friends in this game is overpowered.
Yeah. It's a big difference. It helps you get better as a player. It's like, it's the skateboarding thing, really. It really is that skateboarding thing where if you're just doing it by yourself, there's so much that you're gonna miss, where, like, if you have someone to bounce ideas off of, it's like, oh yeah, well, what about this? What about this? And then your mind kind of starts to open up from the ways that you've maybe been, like, pigeonholing yourself into looking at things at times, and you're like, oh yeah.
Dude, I gotta wrap this up, and I'm so sorry to do this to you this way, but I feel like this has been so much fun. Like, we got a lot of content. I feel like I told my story pretty well.
Yeah, you did. For anybody who, you know, wants to hear anything else about Tom's, you know, journey as a player or anything, you know, go follow Tom on YouTube, go check out his Twitter.
Before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Tom Hayden 27 on Twitch and Twitter. Big Tom 27 on Instagram, the Chilling Nate Pod on YouTube, Tom Hayden Pokemon on YouTube as well. Just search Tom Hayden Pokemon, it'll pop up. Yeah, I got a lot of balls in the air. Go to limitless.tcg.com and search the Tommy Tuesday stores. If you filter out on the Switch every Tuesday, I host tournaments, and my Discord channel, the Among Us Bus, you can get a link to there from the Twitter account. We're growing. It's 560 people now, which is crazy. You know, it's just like, it's steadily growing, and tours help it grow, and, like, got a good community in there. And yeah, it's really cool to see how this Pokemon world's affected my life. And I can't wait to see this video when it comes out. So
yeah,
thank you for having me on. And yeah, I gotta run. So,
yeah, you're good. Yeah, and I'll link all this stuff too. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, Tom. And it has been a pleasure. So I do appreciate you, my friend.
Done and done. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, peace out, man.